Round one.
Hello, and welcome to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. I'm Aurelio Martinez, Steven Johnson, and I'll tell you in this episode, Steve, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mexican fight fans. You know, they pretty much have been the catalyst. They've been the driving force in boxing. Period. You know, they love their boxing. They support it.
No question.
They buy every show, but they've been absent of an icon. I mean, they're used to having their Salvador Sanchez. They're all the way up to Julio Cesar Chavez, and it's kind of disappeared. And in between, you had many great fighters that they just loved. You had Lupe Pintor. You had Lupe Aquino. Carlos Zarate. I mean, and the list goes on. And one of my favorites was Carlos Palomino, you know, who lives in California. But lately...
Did you mention Salvador Sanchez? I think you said it right off the bat.
Yeah, he's right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just a proud race, proud of their boxing, and they just don't have that right now anymore. You know, they were hopeful of Canelo, and they stand by Canelo, but it's more of a default. It's more because that's all that's out there. You know, and Canelo has proven to be not the powerful, pride, honorable Mexican type fighter anymore. But there's no one else for them to support.
Well,
let's talk about
Canelo first. I know what you're saying, but Canelo just put 51,000 people in Texas Stadium. Okay.
Well, them are just numbers, and that's them are clouds, and how do they say it? It's just a smoke screen. Okay. Because in Mexico they had a show a few years back where they had 100,000 people in Azteca Stadium, but it was $1 to get in. Okay? so you know, you can always manipulate that, because the real truth of the truth behind that is, okay, they had 50,000 at the stadium, but what did they do? How many did they give away? That's stuff that they don't divulge. Yeah. But the pay-per-view numbers don't lie. They were disgusting.
Terrible.
They were disgusting. They were terrible. I mean, you can't come in and talk about, yes, I'm going to fight Triple G, I'm going to do this. You can't give up a title and elect not to fight someone and still expect people to be on that bandwagon, that proud bandwagon. You can't do that. And then announce you're going to fight Liam Smith.
Yeah.
Liam Smith. You know, take nothing away from Liam Smith, but nobody didn't know him, and it was like, what's he doing? You know,
It wasn't even a sparring session. Yeah,
No,
I
what's he
agree with
doing?
you.
So basically, Canelo's not the one to move into that position. So let's talk about it.
Before we get finished with Canelo, let me just say this. According to most Mexican boxing fans, he's still their guy. So
well, that's what I mean by default.
But
they don't have another choice.
Well,
you know, if you had a selection of 3 or 4 of them, I guarantee you he would not be their choice.
Well, you know, one of the things that I always liked was the rival between Mexico and Puerto Rico. We used to have some great fights from there, you know, and we got a couple of young kids now that are up and comers. But let's talk about your Mexican favorite for right now, and then I'm going to talk about my Puerto Rican favorite from right now, who's on the rise.
On the up and up.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what. I think one boxer that can move into that position relatively quickly. Now, if we talk about the next 3 to 5 years, there's a number of up and coming Mexican boxers that are outstanding.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And a lot of them are new and they're just grooming. But
Yep.
from that pool, you're going to have a bunch of them materialize into great fighters. But right now, today, one that can actually jump in there relatively quick is my man Oscar Valdez.
No question.
I just think that Oscar, he is one guy that has been moved the way you need to move a champion. He's 20-0 and
18 KOs.
And 18 KOs, and he didn't get there by fighting boxers that are 0-9 or 2-33 and things like that, because that actually hurts a fighter. We talked about that before.
Right.
Okay, he's actually fought boxers with experience that had 500 records, just below 500 records, and that's how you have to bring him up. But there again, he's got top ranked guy in his career, and no one does it better.
That's true.
So basically, I think Oscar Valdez, and he's fighting coming up here soon.
He's fighting that kid from Japan.
Yeah, he's fighting. I got it here.
I think that's at Thomas and Mack Center in Vegas.
Hiroshige Osawa. 30 wins, 3 losses, and 4 draws. Okay.
And that's for the WBO title, right?
WBO featherweight title.
Yeah.
And that's coming up 11-5.
November 5th.
Yeah, November 5th.
I think that's at the Thomas Mack Center in Vegas, and that's going to be interesting.
But watch this kid. Watch this kid. This kid can move in there relatively quick. He can take he can just take all the glory away from Canelo, and Canelo will just be an aftermath. And I'm telling you, Canelo will be forced to step up his game and show the Mexican people that he has that pride and he has that honor. Because right now, he doesn't. I'm sorry, but he doesn't. So,
well, how much time do we have? We have enough time because we want to talk about Canelo being a big letdown, and that has happened ever since he fought Floyd, correct?
That's correct.
Ever since he fought Floyd, a lot of people have thought that they could figure out the answer to him. James Kirkland, who is a guy that really has very little skill. He's all heart, he's the true warrior there, and James Kirkland pushed him a little bit, had him a little bit of trouble, but James Kirkland didn't have Ann Wolfe in his corner, so we know, most of us feel that was the problem there. But ever since then, I mean, even James Kirkland, you and I talked about that before with you guys, and we said James Kirkland was going to cause problems, and he did cause him problems, but he just didn't have what he needed, the combination of Ann Wolfe and what he needed to do. But ever since then, they've been very careful with who he fights, and there should be no reason for that.
But there is no reason because Canelo has the tools.
Yeah,
okay? He has the tools and he has the skills. Okay, the problem with Canelo is the heart. Okay, and when people gave him a chance to defeat Floyd, and I even thought he'd do a lot better against Floyd, but I've always said you cannot win, and it doesn't matter who's on the opposite side of you. You cannot win when you fight scared.
Yeah.
And he fought scared. He was scared. He was scared. He was scared. Okay, so you can't fight. I don't care who's on the opposite side. If you're scared and you have doubt in your mind, you can't win.
Yeah.
You can't win.
I can't dispute that at all. I just handling Austin Trout, that was a good performance.
But let's talk about the pride. You got Oscar coming up. That Puerto Rican you're talking about. Hopefully he's in that area where him and Oscar can mix it up and get that Puerto Rican Mexican rival going again.
At some point, that's it. I'm talking about Alex Verdejo.
Alex,
the young kid from Puerto Rico. They're talking about him right now that he's got everything as Tito Trinidad.
And I like him.
Even Tito's a big fan of his.
I like him.
So it'll be interesting. But like you said, Ben, there are a lot of Mexican fans that are now searching for that new Mexican superstar because, as you said, they still will come out and see Canelo, but he doesn't have that luster that he had before. Because
boxing's in their blood. So they're going to watch boxing. Even if there was no Mexican icon, they'd still watch boxing because that's the sport. That's the Mexican sport, and it has been for ages and ages. So that's not going away. But give them their icon, and I'm gonna tell you what: if Oscar doesn't become it, you got plenty of youngsters that are just starting, that are under 10-0, that are fantastic boxers coming out, and we're going to talk about them as we go on in time. So
sounds good. My bad, Aurelio. I said Alex Verdejo. I meant Felix Verdejo from Puerto Rico.
Felix, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him fight. So good. But Felix, I think, can start that rivalry once again.
No doubt.
With Mexican Puerto Rican rivalry.
Now Felix is, I think he's lightweight, and what's our boy?
Oscar's featherweight.
Oscar's featherweight. That's right.
So we're talking 30-35.
They'll meet at
we're in
some
the money.
point.
We're
They'll meet at some point.
Okay.
All right. But anyway, that's the end of our first segment. And we'll be back in the second segment. We're going to talk about some more interesting things. Aurelio's going to get some more coffee. I'm going to get another shot of this Pepsi Cola. And we'll see you in a second.
10 seconds, baby. 10 seconds.
Count it down.
So anyway, hey, come back and see us. We'll wind down this one until we come back with the next episode. Keep them hands up.
Keep them up, baby.